Today, we will discuss how Sonic transformed through speed, innovation, and a memorable design. Today, we will talk about the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog, the technological advancements and development Sega used to create Sonic, and finally, the lasting impact he's had on gaming culture. Sonic the Hedgehog. He is one of the most influential video game characters ever created. Even people who have never played a Sonic game will usually recognize a fast blue hedgehog with red shoes, but many people do not know the story behind Sonic's creation and how he helped shape the gaming industry. So, to begin, in the early 90s, Sega was in a tough position. They were struggling to compete with their competitor Nintendo, who arguably was one of the biggest gaming companies at that time. And Nintendo's mascot Mario dominated the video game market. Also, Sega was so desperate to create a character that could rival Mario and even beat him in popularity. So, according to Sonic's development history, Sega organized a company and got competition to design a new mascot that would represent the company. Artist Naoto Oshima eventually created the hedgehog design that became Sonic. Programmer Yuji Naka and designer Hirokozu Yashura also played a major roles in developing the game. Sega did not just want another game character, they wanted a symbol, an icon that people around the world would immediately recognize. So, fun fact, Sonic was not the only idea they considered. The development team looked at several different animals, including a rabbit and armadillo, to make as the mascot. So the rabbit would grab objects with its ears, and the armadillo would roll around in a ball. And with that, it would do different attacks. But eventually, the team chose the hedgehog because of the spikes, and it would have fit perfectly with the rolling mechanic that they had with the armadillo. Sonic's personality was also carefully designed. Unlike his competitors Mario, who was a cheerful and friendly, Sonic was meant to appear cool, confident, and rebellious. One source described Sonic as a challenger with attitude. Sega believed this personality would appeal especially to teenagers and American audience during the 90s. The design of Sonic appearance also had meaning behind it. His red shoes were inspired by Michael Jackson's shoes, specifically the shoes he wore on his 1987 Ballad album cover, and the colors of Santa Claus, which Oshima chose because Santa is a universally recognized character. His blue body matched Sega's company logo. The color evoked more of a cool vibe, and lastly, the color was chosen to contrast Mario's red color scheme. Every part of Sonic's design was carefully planned to create an iconic mascot. So once Sega created Sonic's character, the company focused on developing gameplay technology that would make the franchise stand out from its competitors. One of the biggest reasons Sonic became successful was because of his speed. During the early 90s, most platform games were slower and more focused on careful jumping, which enforced more of a slower gameplay loop. However, Sega wanted Sonic to feel completely different from any players had experienced before. Programmer Yuji Naka developed new scrolling technology that allowed Sonic to move quickly through levels while maintaining smooth gameplay. This was extremely difficult because video game hardware at the time had many limitations. However, the developer team pushed the hardware to its limits. According to one source, the Sonic development team worked around 19 hours a day during production so they could release the game on time. This dedication helped create one of the most technology advanced games of its time. The team wanted players to feel the excitement and speed as they raced through their levels. One of the best examples of this is the Green Hill Zone, the first level in the original Sonic game. It featured bright colors, loops, and slopes, and fast movement that immediately showed players how different Sonic games was to other games. So instead of moving slowly and carefully, players were encouraged to build speed and keep their momentum, and provided different alternative routes to reach the finish line. So, a Sega history article explains that Sonic Team wanted a gameplay that encouraged replayability and speedrunning. And this design philosophy became the reason why many players could replay the game and choose the different routes that they wanted to. And it also allowed them to discover new shortcuts and new ways to speedrun the game. The game's soundtrack was also contributed to its success. Composer Masato Nakamura created an energetic music that matched Sonic's fast gameplay. The combination of music, speed, and colorful graphics created a unique and exciting experiment that felt like that invoked like his speed. When Sonic the Hedgehog released in 1991, it became an immediate success. The game helped increase Sega Genesis sales dramatically and allowed Sega to compete directly with Nintendo. For the first time, Sonic quickly became the face of Sega and one of the most recognizable characters in gaming history. So because of this massive success, Sonic's popularity expanded far beyond video games and became a major part of pop culture. After the release of the original game, Sonic became a worldwide phenomenon. Sega produced sequels, cartoons, comic books, toys, and eventually movies. During the 90s, Sonic represented the growing popularity of gaming culture. Among the youth, a Wired article described Sonic as a symbol of the 90s gaming culture. This demonstrates how important the character became during the time period. Sonic's attitude, speed, and style reflected the culture of the 90s and helped define the Sonic's identity. The franchise continued to grow with games such as Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic CD, Sonic Adventure, and Sonic 3D. And it brought those games, like the 3D ones, it brought like kind of like another revolution for the company. And but like over time the games kind of got like mixed reviews. Sonic's like reimagined popularity, or he kept his popularity because of his fan base that stayed connected to his character and his history. Another reason Sonic's massive popularity is because of that like fan base, and they created like different music, animations, they created their artwork, different ships, and discussions that could continue to keep the franchise alive and thriving. So Sonic has become more than just a video game icon and character. He's now part of the internet culture and gaming history. So recently, with the Sonic movies, introduced the character to younger audiences and more to the general public. The success of these films prove that Sonic still remains relevant over 30 years after his original debut. Very few video game characters franchises have lasted this long, while maintaining worldwide recognition. Today, Sonic continues to influence modern games through his speed, based gameplay design, levels, and memorable character design. So today we discussed how Sonic transformed gaming through his speed, innovation, and memorable character design. We talked about how Sonic was created to compete with Nintendo, how Sega developed revolutionary gameplay technology, and how Sonic became a worldwide cultural icon. From his original gameplay in the early 90s to his modern movies, Sonic the Hedgehog still continues to be one of the most important gaming characters in history. Thank you.